one of the great parts about having your own show is you get to introduce yourself to all the people you really wanted to meet, whether it be businessmen, politicians, religious leaders. You get to have conversations with really some of Rhode Island's best and brightest. Folks who are, whether it be a product, a service, a philosophy, leadership, it's just great. And as I mentioned in the advertising show, I am uniquely privileged to have tonight on a guest. And by the way, just as an aside, I got more positive feedback from having you on this show. More likes, people like, yeah, Yacht Club, dude. More of that than I think just about any other guest I've had on in recent history. So you and your family, I don't think you understand it, are cult heroes in the state. So it is my great pleasure to introduce John Sgambato, of course, of Yacht Club Soda, although you're technically known as the Yacht Club Bottling Works?
Yacht Club Bottling Works.
Yacht Club Bottling,
yes.
Right, in North Providence,
Yep.
Rhode Island. A Rhode Island institution, yet at the same time, a business that is growing, evolving, changing, yet at the same time, their core production values or techniques are all of a sudden, you're a 102-year-old success story,
Yeah.
aren't you?
Yeah.
It's come full circle. Another full confession. Unlike, say, the state-of-the-art production crew here, I would always rather have a really good soda than I would a beer. I think I just heard a gasp. Give me a good root beer, a sarsaparilla, or any number of sodas, and I'm just a soda guy. But I want you to get, we've got some time here to spend, and again, thank you for coming in studio.
Thanks for having me.
If you look at, Tony, if you can pan in on the sweating, glistening, ice cold fountains of refreshment here at us, tell us about the origin of the business, your family, your production techniques. Give us a tour, if you will, a virtual tour of the Yacht Club Bottling
Well,
Works.
Yacht Club opened in Rhode Island in 1915 by the Sharp family. They brought the name and the idea from England. It was also a soda company in England. So that tradition and history came over with them. And in 1935, my grandfather started working there and worked his way up through the business and ended up buying it with my dad in 1960.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So-
we've actually had it longer than the original owners now.
Right, so you're in your 57th year of Sgambato family operation. A little history on the notion of soda, by the way. We're all in, many of us in particular are aware of Coca-Cola's early days as both a medicinal product
Yep.
as well as a source of refreshment. But there was a time when soda was made of the highest quality of water, actual real flavors. They weren't using chemical formulations for sugar. Tell us about the evolution of Yacht Club in terms of the product and where it stands today.
Well, the reason we are where we are is because of our water supply. So the building was built over a pristine water supply that also has excellent characteristics for carbonation. So we don't have to alter it in any way. So there's no salts added. We don't even have to chill the water, which is like unheard of for a soda producer. So that's the number one, is our water supply is perfect for carbonation. So
How much of it do you have?
well, we haven't run out so far. We pump out few thousand gallons a day, and
Anybody from Invenergy called you lately?
no, no, wouldn't happen.
Okay. So you've got a pure. And now, is it?
It's Mineral Spring. That's why Mineral Spring Avenue was named Mineral Spring Avenue, is because of all the mineral springs that ran through it. So yeah, it's just it's an artesian well. We're about 180 feet deep. It's all granite bedrock underneath, so it's getting filtered by the granite as it comes up, and then we also run through carbon.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how different is the process in manufacturing now? If you go to your website, which is, is it Yacht Club Bottling Works?
Yeah.
.com. You talk about some of the modernization that you've gone through in the last couple of years, but how much different is the process of manufacturing soda in terms of the recipes and the core product now than it was, say, 57 years ago or 100 years ago?
For us, since we've taken over, not much has changed. We still do it the same way we were taught. My grandfather was taught. He taught us. We just kept going down the line. We haven't changed it. We were told as very young kids, never use corn syrup. It tastes terrible. The shelf life is terrible. It's just not meant to be drank.
Right.
So we've never deviated. We've always used cane. We've always tried to make it better, if anything. We've never gone the cheap way out, and it might have hurt us, 15 years ago when convenience was the ultimate
Right.
thing, but we just didn't want to change the way we did things. And
Right.
now it's coming full circle, and people are looking for a quality product made the old way.
Right. And it's interesting now because some of the studies revolving around diet soda, you're finding out that diet soda is actually more harmful to you than a product made with natural ingredients.
Yeah, we still have a small diet line for we have some diabetic customers that can't drink anything else. But yeah, no, I agree. Diet soda shouldn't be had by the masses. I think what's natural is better. And we also have seltzers too, which have no sugar.
Right.
It's just carbonated water, natural flavor. I mean, that's if you wanted something diet, that's the way to go.
Right. What were the earliest products? I mean, what were the mainstays early on?
Root beer, birch beer. Seltzer water was the first product. Was just the siphon bottles of seltzer water. But then they went into, like, birch beer is our oldest unchanged recipe. It's actually original to the company. We've never been altered.
Now, I know you can't share that, but compare that to, say, any one of the root beers or birch beers. Does anyone even make sarsaparilla anymore?
There's a couple, not many.
Right.
There's a couple in the country.
But what's the difference between that and, say, the stuff you'll get at the gas station, 2 for $3 on the go? What's the difference?
Just care and quality. It's what's in the bottle. It really makes a big difference. The high quality ingredients are incredible. You can buy extracts or flavorings or things like vanilla right now is through the roof. We've had 3 bad years of crops, and they had a cyclone in the area, or 2 or 3 actually, I think, and it's gone up to $400 to $500 a gallon for vanilla. That's our cream soda.
Right.
So I could cheapen it, use an artificial, do something like that, but we just won't do that. So it is what it is, and we're paying it, and it's getting, everyone's still getting what they used to get. It's just we won't cheapen our product for a price point.
How much of a challenge is it in this part of the country to source these type of natural ingredients? I spent, by note, I think the first time you and I met, ironically, was at the end of Blackstone Boulevard on a Saturday afternoon, because before you leave, we'll go through a number of places that we can see you and the product in the flesh, taste the product. But I spent some time in Jamaica, and there are a number of natural products which are really good in Jamaica. A significant one of those is soda, because when you have a ginger beer,
They have good ginger beer.
or ginger ale, it's really a completely different product than
It is.
getting the 2-liter jug, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. True Jamaica ginger is a great thing. It really is. We use it in our product.
So without getting, and it's all about the ingredients in the mix. Take, a couple of sodas come to mind that are really complicated. It's not just dumping chemicals in.
Yeah.
And root beer, cream soda, sarsaparilla, and ginger ale are really the 4 that are just.
Yeah. We, because of the laws of ATF, things like that, we have our flavors extracted by other people. So they have, we source out people who do it the right way.
Well, explain that to me, because I don't think a lot of folks are familiar.
We use mostly alcohol extractions, and so you need bonding, licensing.
Really?
It's a crazy process. If you wanted to do it yourself, it's like $1 million bond, and then you have to be approved by like 3 government agencies. It's quite the
For soda?
to make the flavoring. So
Right.
like to pull an essential oil out of something, or yeah, it's quite complicated. But ginger is percolated and steeped in alcohol, and then cut with citrus to make the flavor. That's
Huh,
yeah.
okay. So that's why your ginger ale has such a distinct taste.
It's pure ginger. Yeah.
Right. Now, root beer, I mean, how much different stuff goes into root beer? I know, like I said, secret family recipes, but I don't want to betray confidence here, but I mean, what are some of the generic types of things that you're putting into a real root beer?
A traditional root beer is sadly no longer allowed in the United States, which was sassafras. But that was banned by the FDA quite some time ago. So that had been replaced with more of a licorice type flavor. And then through the years, we've just found things that have brought out the flavor of root beer the way it should be. And the real trick to a real good root beer is vanilla. It makes it smooth, and it brings out the flavor.
Right. Now, cola, you know, we have a little bit of a background because Coca-Cola is so omnipresent. But what type of ingredients do you have to do a superior cola?
There's quite a bit to a cola. There's a lot of fruit, a lot of bitters. People don't realize it's in cola. Cola nut is the first ingredient, and the Coca-Cola, that was cocaine back in the day. So, yeah. So that no longer exists. They slowly weeded that out during World War I and replaced it with tea and then just liquid caffeine. So that's the Coca-Cola end of it. But the trick to a really good cola is carbonation. Honestly, it's you need to have a lot of carbonation, and it needs to be tart, very tart.
For lack of a better term, is there a brewmaster at Yacht Club? Is there the keeper of the keys?
That'd be me.
Wow.
I've been doing it now. Let's see, about 9 years.
Really?
Doing that part of it. Yeah.
And was there some sort of secret family ritual?
Oh, I grew up watching my grandfather and my dad, and when my dad was doing it, I used to go up and just investigate. And so I was very curious as a child, and basically learned it through watching.
So this is as much a craft as it is a product.
Oh yeah. It's not something you just jump into. We have an annual bottlers meeting, and we talk about like things like this, and it's funny because like sometimes like these new guys will come in, and they'll you help them as much as you can, but it's hard to describe what you grew up in to somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So this is, in a sense, this is very much like being a baker or a bread maker or someone who grew up in the pizza business who really does pizza. No, this is. I don't think a lot of folks really understand the complexity of the product, and just the stress of what's involved in terms of its day in, day out manufacturing. Again, for 102 years, consistently, and consistency being the important part here, consistently manufacturing a great product.
Thank you.
So you're the brewmeister. Your palate, I mean, for these tastes,
it's tough when you get sick.
Yeah,
it really is tough when you get sick. But yes, you have to taste the underlying flavors to know what you're looking for. So like if somebody comes in and or I'm trying to master a new flavor, like orange cream or the grapefruit. The grapefruit took a year of just trying to search for the correct extracts.
Right.
It was just sourcing materials.
Well, in a way, and I'll draw kind of what may seem like a crazy analogy, but I think a lot of the underlying concepts are the same. In the perfume business, the real perfume business, where you've got folks either making custom perfumes or some of these very high-end perfumes, it's all about.
It's all about taste. It's
Right.
all about smell and your palate. You have to. It's hard because you can change it so easily by just changing acidity or carbonation levels, or it's very you have to know what you're looking for and know how to get to that point. That's it took a long time to get to that point for me.
How many years have you effectively worked in made soda?
Effectively?
Yeah.
Let's see, probably since I was 2. But no, I've started working in more real working in high school, and went full time right after high school. My brother, who worked full time, had to go for open heart surgery, and it's just a family business. And my father was a Downing person, so I jumped in, and I really never looked back.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, no, this is outstanding. So let's talk about then the product development process. Now, you've had a couple of, you and I met a couple of years ago at the farmers market at the base of Blackstone Boulevard, and then we were reintroduced, if you will, by politics.
Yeah.
Because and by the way, I appreciate the good spirit that you had during that. You spent a great deal of time, and I like to use this as sort of illustrative of what's involved in coming up with the Trump and the Clinton soda, and then your willingness at the when folks rose up, if you will, and said, "Wait a minute, there is a third choice," and you were kind enough to adapt your sarsaparilla product. By the way, I'm pronouncing that right. It's actually sarsaparilla.
Yep.
Okay. Wait. First of all, what is a sarsaparilla?
Sarsaparilla is it's more or less a root beer, just prepared a little differently.
Is there a sarsaparilla plant, or is there?
It's sassafras. That's where that name came from.
Okay.
But again, it is basically a root beer, but more carbonation and no vanilla and little different acidity.
Right. And real sassafras were harmed egregiously in the manufacture of your soda?
We cannot use it, sadly.
Really?
No.
And why not?
The FDA took it off the market, but for some reason, importers can still sell it in America. It's very strange.
Tony, we've got another legal challenge. To heck with this other stuff. Damn it, we're going to take on the FDA.
Well, sarsaparilla.
Sarsaparilla. So you got a lot of national attention, which was gratifying because your family also handles the marketing, and I gotta hand it to you. Again, it's a multi-generational family business, yet you've been able to use the internet to really propel the company forward.
It's helped greatly, yeah.
Right, in a way that, my words, not yours, it strikes me that there are a lot of folks, as they say, in your space, who come at it from an internet background looking for a product that they can market on the internet, as opposed to being soda people who have found this wonderful tool to bring their product to a larger audience.
It's just sitting there. You had to figure it out. That was it was basically, I don't even know, I don't remember when it happened, but I just saw social media taking off and was like, we got to jump on this somehow. And it took a while to get our voice.
Right.
But yeah, we think we started to do a good job with it.
Well, it brings up a great point, because how far is your distribution now?
Well, we ship all over the country, but locally, just Southern Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Boston area.
Now, you've got a factory store. Do you do tours?
Yeah, we do. We're happy to show people around at pretty much any time of day.
Okay. So, and that is where?
That's in 2239 Mineral Spring Avenue, North Providence.
Right. You've got the factory store. Now, what retailers, I know there's many, but, and you have an astonishing, made astonishing inroads into the restaurant business.
Yes.
Because it's sold at restaurants as a premium product.
Yes. That has been a great, it's almost a marketing tool in itself.
Mhm.
People will go to a very nice restaurant like Nick's on Broadway or right across the street, Rogue Island. They'll get a mixed drink with our product.
Right.
Nice high-end alcohol with high-end soda, and it makes a big difference. And then you see people coming through the door and say they had the soda at X
Right.
restaurant, and it's just it's great.
So are you looking to, I guess the challenge will always be the high quality of the product, the logistical challenges of finding the right raw material,
Yeah.
and then add into it the water supply,
Yeah.
your desire to maintain a really tight control on quality, and then growing the business. How do you juggle something like that?
There's room to grow without affecting the product negatively.
Right.
Yeah, there is room to grow. I've been slowly purchasing equipment. We actually have a whole other line ready to be put in now that I have, over the last 5 years, gone about and picked pieces that I needed. So that could quadruple our production.
Really?
Yeah, without affecting the product. It's an old-fashioned. We're moving from the 40s to the 60s in our equipment, but it's So we're still keeping it old-fashioned. It's still made the old-fashioned way. We're just trying to increase a little bit of the production so we can bottle up a little more. Maybe be easier to ship out of state like we do now, but not as much of a challenge. And hopefully with the increased production, that'll help us keep the costs in line.
Well, and it brings up an important point. How important is glass bottling to, and you're talking to someone who grew up with those green Coca-Cola bottles. And as I'm staring at this, again, the taste, the feel.
There's nothing like it. There's nothing like a glass bottle. It preserves the product exactly how it goes in. There's no alteration. A plastic bottle, as soon as it's capped, starts eating away at the flavor of a product, and the carbonation goes down.
Right.
The can is the closest thing, but it's still not a glass bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting because when they canceled Coke in favor of New Coke.
Oh God.
That was, and the reason I remember this so clearly was
Only Coke could survive that.
right. That summer, I happened to travel to Martinique in the French West Indies, which anyone who may or may not be familiar with the Coke structure needs to understand that the Coca-Cola owns bottling companies in partnership with people around the world.
Yeah.
And so there are local countries that have their own Coca-Cola bottling of fill in the blank. So in the French West Indies, they had never given up on old Coke.
Yeah.
And I remember to the day two things happening at the bar. The word went out that there was new Coke, that it was cane sugar as opposed to fructose, and you literally had at 8 o'clock the next morning people huddled around the bar, some of whom may have been suffering the abuses of potential alcohol withdrawal, and then others, just like the good Coca-Cola, sitting there, cold turkey shaking, having withdrawal symptoms, just belting down Cokes. Because they got a few weeks.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Without them.
Yeah.
But that green bottle, again, it's like you said, on a chemical and a technical level, it enhances the product, it maintains the product.
It just maintains.
But there's the look and the feel. Tony, if you can pan in on this, you look at that, and you want to rip the cap off. In fact, at any moment now, I could just grab all of these and go into the fetal position. Can I open one of these?
Yeah, sure.
Is it? See? Let me taste it. If it's summer, let's just say it's summertime. It's in excess of 90 degrees. The dew point is somewhere around 200%.
Right now,
and you live in a state where potentially infrastructure is failing at an exponential pace, and you find yourself routinely trapped in traffic for sometimes hours at a time when you're attempting merely to cross town. Hypothetically, of course. So, what's better than having a real soda? In a world where everything is so mass-produced, is more a function of spin and public relations than it is craftsmanship. In a world like that, or when the alleged craftsmanship is nothing more than an attitude as opposed to real substance, as is in so many of the cases, my words, not yours, these boutique sodas, these boutique beers, these boutique wine, all of these people, it seems like in a lot of cases, the business plan precedes a true love for the product. That's not,
we have some good beers in Rhode Island.
right, and that's what's great. So why not? I mean, come on. Oh my God, that's good. So why not? Why not embrace it? It's again, we're fortunate. Other people have to spend money to ship this.
Yeah.
We've got so much great native stuff, whether it be foolproof on the beer side, Yacht Club here, some of our natural products, our fish, our lobster. This is the time of year you need to really enjoy this. So let's get back. We were talking about product development, and so what went into the great Trump versus Clinton? I mean, what's involved in that process?
Well, I started off with the crazy idea during one of the debates that I think we should put Donald Trump in a bottle.
Yeah, I think we'll go with that.
and then I just came up with the Democratic Republican theme, and I would have went with whoever the two top candidates were at
Right.
the time. I just didn't have the budget to do 3 or 4.
Right, or 17.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm thinking of Ted Cruz soda. That would have been like really bitter.
I was trying to figure out what flavor that would be. Yeah.
It
Like
wouldn't be
Dr. Pepper or something.
It wouldn't be a happy soda. It wouldn't transport you to a happy place, would it? No. Sorry. But okay, so what? How long did it take you to do the product development on that?
Well, I had flavors in mind, ideas that I knew would work. So I knew I wanted a red and a blue. So I started with those bases to try to keep a similarity with people's tastes.
Right.
So I didn't want to have like a red lemon or something like that. I
Right.
wanted to try to keep it. So if they saw a red drink, okay, that's a fruit punch, or that's blue raspberry. So we did I did a special fruit punch concoction for the Donald's Populous Punch, and then I also made a blue raspberry limeade for Hillary's liberal limeade. So that surprisingly were 2 of my easier flavor makes, because I already been playing with stuff like that for other things, and I almost had them ready to go and didn't even. It just worked very well. But labels wise, I had the idea in my head of caricatures, and I wanted the symbols of the parties, like the elephant and the donkey. And so I called my friend Frankie Galasso, who's a well-known artist in Rhode Island. He does all local prints, and he does really great work. So called him up, started talking to him, and he came back and I probably called him up in November or December the year before the election. We didn't know who was going to be. We pretty much knew Hillary was going to be the Democratic candidate. We had no idea who was going to be the Republican, so we were playing with ideas for the Republican Party. But once May hit, we had a pretty good idea. So he started going into production. He came in the end of May with proofs, and he just blew me out of the water. So that was the label, and one of my childhood friends is my graphic designer. So we've known each other since we were about 4 years old. Right. And so went over, hung out with him, and we blasted out the label. We made the background, the American flag, and things like that. We just that was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, and you went viral with that.
Yeah, it went quick. We didn't expect what happened. We were just trying to have some fun with it. But yeah, it's all of a sudden we were on CNBC, NBC Nightly News, Univision even came.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was phenomenal, and it's great to see the hometown hero get that kind of national attention. You sell the entire product line over the web?
We're working on that right now, actually. We only sell like bulk freight right now to other states, but we are currently finalizing a shipping carton for 12 packs. And once they are done, we will go live with a web store.
Right. And so and it's interesting because Rhode Islanders, as we all know, we're an interesting breed. There are only a few city-states in the nation that I think I can really, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, a few other places where people, they may live elsewhere, but they consider it sort of a temporary sentence.
Yeah.
And they all assume at some point they'll make it back to the promised land, the Rhode Island.
It's the anchor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anchor. That they'll somehow be back here, and so there's a unique affinity for certain Rhode Island products, and yours, and Dell's, and a few others come to mind right away. Do you think? I mean, do you come into work every day and just sort of are you kind of like a Willy Wonka, if you will, in a more normal way? I mean, are you tinkering with flavors and ideas all the time?
All the time. I never stop. As soon as this came out, I had 2 more on the table the next day.
And let's talk about that. This is the newest entree. Tony, if you could pan in on this. Again, it's glistening, it's wet, it's cold. And you're probably not right now. So you need to try this. Orange cream. I'm going to have to... Folks, by the way, I'm in the Clean Play Club again. So I'm going to take we had a glass of water here somewhere. I'm going to grab a glass of water in a second because I want to cleanse the palate. But talk to me about, well, first of all, to make it to be a Yacht Club flavor. All right. I would imagine you come up with a lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And again, without betraying the internal confidence or the thought process per se, but what's it got to take to make it to the permanent roster here?
Pretty much broad approval by the family. This one was a funny story. I was playing with the blue raspberry for quite a while, and my wife didn't like the idea, and she was pregnant, I believe, with my daughter at the time. And she came out at night, and she was like probably like 10 o'clock, and I had one of these samples that I was trying to see if I'll drink them periodically to see if they hit me the right way. She grabbed it and drank it. She's like, "That is delicious. You need to make it." So that was it.
Marching orders.
Yeah. As soon as she said that, I was like, okay. Got to make that.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's the same thing with some of these, local ice cream. You just inspiration probably hits you from.
You just sometimes things strike you, and you're like, oh, that'd be good. All right.
So orange cream.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got a very successful orange soda. Again, my words, not his. Fanta, this is not.
No.
All right. My late father-in-law. He used to drink, a great guy, but for some reason he would have bottles. All right, I'll let you sip first. Of Weight Watchers Diet Orange Soda.
Wow.
Yikes. The fact that it was manufactured in and around, I believe, the great city of Elizabeth, New Jersey, should tell you something. Because it was more born of a chemistry lab than anything to do with soda. And I tried it once. Oh my. So what was the call for orange cream?
Actually, that was like years of people asking for it. And we were just, it's hard to make an orange not overpower the vanilla. And it just took a really long time for us to come.
Is vanilla consistently in the entire product line? Is that?
No, it's just happens to be a very popular flavor, and we don't want to take it away from people. They want it, we try to give it to them.
Because I don't know if you're going for this, but I smell it, and I think creamsicle.
Yeah, that's the flavor we're going for. It's the traditional like creamsicle.
Yeah.
That's what everyone looks for.
Kids running down the street to go to
Yeah,
the
yeah, summertime.
ice cream truck.
Cold,
Right.
refreshing, delicious. Yeah.
All right. Cheers. Wow, that's good. And I'm not usually like an orange soda drinker.
Yeah.
But that's delicious.
Thank you.
And I could see how this could be mixed with a lot of different adult beverages.
Yes, another one of our, another one of my thought processes when I'm making something is, can it be used as a mixer?
Right.
Because that doubles your market.
Right.
So if grapefruit is probably one of our most popular flavors, one, because it's delicious, but two, because it goes great with so many different alcohols.
So what's a great cocktail with all of these? For example, we'll get back to this in a second. We'll take the grapefruit. We're saving this for one of our coworkers here, Molly, who's a fan. So we're going to put this in the office fridge. But what's great as a mixer with the grapefruit?
Tequila and vodka is probably the most common, but tequila is the actual traditional drink with grapefruit soda. It's called La Palomba. It's
sounds good to me.
It's actually the most common Mexican cocktail. Most people think it's a margarita, but that's an American thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to Mexico and you ask for a La Palomba, they make it with a grapefruit soda, and it's tequila, grapefruit soda, some bitters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, your cola stands up really nicely with any of the flavored rums.
Yeah.
Which is, particularly this time of year,
Mm-hmm.
It's just great stuff. I mean, you no longer have to suffer through, bad catered soda and really bad off-brand rum. I mean, it works really well with
It does.
Now, again, I'm speaking hypothetically, of course. It works really well with Captain Morgan. If you're looking for a summer drink that you might be gearing towards more of a volume environment, if you will.
Yeah, and whiskeys it does well with too. And ginger ale is your traditional whiskey mixer, things like an Irish whiskey. The ginger beer goes with black rum, flavored rums, vodka. The tonic, vodka and gin. That's pretty much what we look for. We want to see if it has it plays both ways. If it can, then that's even more of a reason to bring it out.
Do you have drink recipes available to the public yet?
No.
That's on the list.
Yeah, it's on my to-do list. I have a checklist. It's definitely on there. I gotta get to that.
Right, because it's interesting. One of the happy side effects of the restaurant boom here at Providence, because this is a restaurant city for folks who might be listening in for our next segment.
Restaurants in the world.
It's astonishing here. They, in fact, a regular feature on Go Local Prov is a mixologist comes on and does amazing things with quality liquors and quality sodas. So it can really, folks' drinking habits have changed drastically in the last 5 or 10 years, particularly as many of us outgrew our volume. I think, what's the word, Tony? A binge? But again, if you're hosting a cocktail party or something and you want to do something a little different, you don't want to just fall into the normal, this mode, or just the tired old response. You could actually make an entire party surrounding this.
You could. We have a big thing for us now is actually weddings. People will buy it for their welcome bags and stuff like that, but they'll also do it to make a signature cocktail for their wedding. So they'll have a special drink made with our soda and maybe Sons of Liberty Spirit or something local. They've been been seeing a lot more of that.
I know you can't say it now. You've got other things in development now?
Yep, started last week. Yeah. As soon as that one was done, I was like, "Oh, we gotta start trying something else."
How has the reaction been to this?
So far, so good. It was actually my most liked social media post ever. So lots of people really gravitated towards it right away, and the traffic in the store has been great. So
Okay, so let's get to specific where people can find it. Besides, you've got the factory store over there in Middle Spring.
Eastside Market right in Providence sells quite a bit of it. They're always ordering, keeping fresh stock. For retail wise, that's the easiest place in Providence. Mostly you find it, like you said, in places you eat, sandwich shops, restaurants, cafes, one at a time.
Right. Any of the other supermarket chains yet, or?
No, supermarket chains are tough. You usually have to buy shelf space and things like that. We're going to start working towards getting into the smaller local markets very soon.
Right. Okay. And then you're very active on the local food circuit, if you will.
Yes.
All right. Besides the Blackstone Boulevard Farmers Market, where else can we find you?
Well, for farmers markets, that's the only one we do right now. But we move inside in the winter in Pawtucket, and we're at events. If there's an event going on, there's a decent chance we'll have a presence there. Always trying to be a part of what's going on in the city or anywhere in the state.
And very often you're out there.
Very often it's me, yes.
Yeah. Loading, the other side of owning a business.
Yeah.
It's great. You know, there's got to be nothing quite like the buzz when you've got a bunch of people surrounded, oohing and ahhing. Because somebody in Rhode Island has grown up with it. Yeah.
It's a very gratifying thing, but it's also, it's not a 9-to-5 job.
No. If you're awake, you're working.
Yeah.
And as fun as it is to do the farmer's market, it's always the packing up. That's
unloading's not as hard. It's not as bad because you think, okay, we're gonna get rid of all this, but no. Yeah, packing up stuff. It's a long day out in the sun, but it's not. I mean, it's part of it. It's all part of it.
Now, this is the coalition. We are ultimately a political talk show. So one of the issues that brought us back together again, because you and I have kind of flirted, if you will, coming on any one of the shows we've been on for a while, and I'm so grateful for you coming on tonight, because I know you've got family demands, you've got an intense business to run, and I think we're all kind of listening in awe when you find someone who's not a manufacturer / creator in a family business environment where it's all hands on deck all the time. It's really eye-opening to the rest of the state for those of us who might be wage slaves, and I say that with love because I'm one of them, to understand the commitment that your family has to make in carrying the ball now as a 102-year-old product, but for 55 plus of those years in your family. It's tremendous a commitment that you wake up with every day. Good days and bad. So recently legislation was brought to the fore in Rhode Island where folks wanted to talk about a sugar tax. And by the way, I'll be posting an interesting article this week. These things always happen for a reason. The Chicago Tribune, by the way, reported this week on the federal reaction towards a sugar tax, if you will, on SNAP and federally funded food products, where it's, interestingly enough, it's illegal. And they're going through all sorts of fits now, I believe it's in Illinois, where they've attempted one of these sugar taxes. But
Philadelphia did too.
Yeah,
it was a mess. People, hundreds of people lost their jobs instead of.
Well, tell us, give us a little background into it, a snapshot into it. First of all, what is a sugar tax as it was envisioned in Rhode Island?
It isn't technically a sugar tax, it's a soda tax. It's only a soda tax. It's not a sugar tax on candy or anything else that contains sugar. It was just for soda. So they were just singling out one thing, one big bad, and just trying to take us to task. But the state was trying to pass a 2 cents per ounce tax on the distributor side. It wasn't something that would go necessarily to the public. It would be passed along to the public, but they don't see that as like a sales tax tacked on at the end.
Right.
But
Stuff tax.
2 cents per ounce is $5.75 a case. That's ludicrous.
Right.
It's absolutely crazy, and they want business in Rhode Island, and it's just not. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
Right, because you're taking a product, and as we've had this discussion this evening, I think folks seen firsthand now the constant challenges of maintaining a standardized price, or as close as you can to a standardized price structure, despite the fact that of the ebbs and flows of the market for products that are by definition either limited availability because of how they're grown, or limited availability because of the restrictions on processing them.
Yeah.
All right, just what you have to do to get through a given day.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
And that's now, okay, and let's make this really personal. That's in addition to the challenges and the creative talent necessary to develop a product which will somehow, over a period of 102 years, continue to meet consumer demand expectations and ever-changing consumer tastes.
Yeah.
Right, after that conversation, are you ready to go home and hide now?
No, I have that with myself every day.
So, adding that type of price.
Yeah, that was the scariest legislation I've ever seen. I thought that would put me out of business. I didn't think I'd be able to maintain a business.
All right, so at the risk of me sounding like Oprah for a second here, again, and the constant refrain time has been 100-plus-year-old business. You had an initiative, and I'm not trying to vilify anybody, so let's keep names out of it, but you had an initiative by the Rhode Island legislature that essentially would be a dagger at the heart of a 100-plus-year-old business that is starting to draw national, in some cases international attention for the high quality of its products at a time when the state of Rhode Island is suffering, almost desperately suffering economically.
Yeah. Luckily, the governor came out and spoke against the bill, and that pretty much squashed it from there. But I'm sure it'll be back at some point.
These things have a way of never...
They seem to, I mean, this had another incarnation about 5 years ago. It wasn't quite as drastic as it is now, as what they tried to bring forward now. But it every 5 or so years they try to find a way to tax us more.
What was the rationalization?
They said it was going to cure obesity. Pretty much, it's all the funds that they're trying to stop people from drinking a sugary drink by taxing them, and then because they are drinking it, the tax money will somehow increase revenues. But they're going to stop them from drinking it. Why? What's the revenue?
Well,
it doesn't, you know.
Sin taxes, and I don't want to equate drinking soda with sin.
Yeah.
But whether it be cigarette, whether it be alcohol taxes, have never proven to be.
No, they don't work.
No.
I see it. It doesn't work. I just don't. We're free people.
Right.
We're supposed to be.
Allegedly, at some level here. And so you're taking a fairly innocuous product that people derive great temporary pleasure from, which used in even not so much moderation is substantially healthier than a number of the alternatives which are being touted.
Yeah, they were touting diet soda.
Well, you know,
and other things like that, and also not to get off this subject, it's part of this subject is it's not necessarily my competitor, but they're much bigger than me. Is Pepsi in Cranston?
Right.
How many people do they employ in the state?
A lot.
You're going to be putting a lot of those people out of work with this tax. It's been proven in Philadelphia, and I mean, why would you want people to lose their jobs?
Right, particularly
in this economic time.
Right, and particularly in a state where, you know, despite the governor's claims, real unemployment based on the size of the workforce is drastically lower. So where does that legislation stand right now?
Well, right now it's been tabled. So
for further study.
Yeah.
Further
it's in
study.
Committee at this point.
You know, one of the things that we should discuss offline is to have, you know, and you, the merits of your company stand on their own.
I was lucky we had a groundswell of support against it.
Right.
Once I made it public. I had known about it for quite a while and thought it wasn't going to even get as far as it did. But it did.
Well, the scary part of the sausage making, as we call it here at Halitosis Hall, all credit to Rudy Jakes, is that if you're a small government type, it's a lifelong game of whack-a-mole. And these bills, unfortunately, have a tendency just to emerge suddenly out of the depths based on some negotiation that
It's
somebody did somewhere, and you're not. The notion that let's not personalize it, that a business like yours should have to be perpetually on guard for this type of vulture legislation, this sort of parasitic attack, is just sad. Your focus should be exclusively on coming out with more innovative, tasty.
Wish that could be all my focus.
Yeah, and that's on top of dealing in an environment where you've got higher energy costs.
Yeah, I was going to say, in this state alone, to do business in my location with between town taxes, regulations, health department fees, all that good stuff, I'm looking at over probably about $350 a case before I start.
Right. Just to wake up.
And that's not payroll tax. That's not God forbid I make a profit tax. All the other things that go in. That's not electrical or anything. But that's my base. What I need to do to open my doors.
Right.
Is $3.50 a case.
Roughly how many people work at the?
It's just family right now. Yeah, so we have 4 of us full
Really?
time. Yeah.
And this new line, do you think they'll expand that, or?
Yeah, always. I would love to grow. Basically, I'm just trying to work as hard as I can right now to get all that stuff in, and pay those bills, and then I can, grow that way.
Right.
That's what that's my goal.
Because ultimately, one of your other goals is how many? Now you're the 3rd generation.
Yep.
You got a 4th generation that's.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're quite showing up for work yet.
Yeah, no, not yet. I have a 3.5-year-old and a 9-month-old. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And the dream, of course, is that someone
If
in
they
that
want
group
it, yeah.
will want to carry it forward and maintain. Really, it's just a great Rhode Island tradition.
Yeah, I have a niece and a nephew too, so we'll see.
There's opportunity because if nothing else, the explosion of the internet, people's ever refined taste. There's always in the market. There's always a place in the market for a product that's the very best.
Yeah, there is. For high quality product, there's always a place for it.
And people will appreciate it and pursue it. And that's clearly where you guys are. So what we need to do as a state is to find ways to create an environment so that you can prosper and grow and sell beyond the borders of Rhode Island and bring the money home for the benefit of your family, because it's your risk capital, your sweat equity that's work. And then as a sideline, other people.
Yeah.
One of the mantras of the show is that capitalism is a mechanism by which the individual can reach their own full human potential. What I mean by that is, your business is a perfect example. Your own risk capital, your own sweat equity, 3 generations of family hard work, day in, day out, 7 days a week. If you're awake, you're working. You take the profits from that, and you reinvest it into the business. And by then, other vendors of yours will have the opportunity to grow. As they say in Economics 101, the multiplier effect, or the potential for the multiplier effect, where that money spreads throughout the local economy, is astonishing. So to whatever degree possible, we need as a state to get behind businesses like yours that have the potential to grow beyond the borders of the state, and that's how we'll grow.
We have those businesses here.
Mhm.
We do. They're here. We just need to. The local movement in the state is great.
Mhm.
People are out and they're supporting us.
Right.
That, I have to say, has been the biggest change in Rhode Island since when my dad was running the company.
Mhm.
It was harder to tout local products in the 80s.
Right.
And it didn't come across the same way as it does now. So yeah, people's mindset have changed, and it's locally, and it's really helped.
Right. Well, when I look at your business, when I look at what the folks down, and just as one example, the Matunic folks with oysters.
Oh, yeah, tunic oyster bar.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. Can folks can get your product there?
Not there.
Folks call them.
Yeah.
Because all right, because I'm what's a good pairing with an oyster?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good one. You know,
Because oysters have become the coin of the realm.
they are really grapefruit. We sell. We use the grapefruit at the Oyster Festival. Quite a bit of it, which is in September this year in downtown Providence.
I get to go to his place about once a year.
Yeah.
I wait till after. By the way, if he's listening or ever hears this, understand that as a native of the New York metropolitan area, the notion that I would wait in line to get parking so that I can wait in line to eat dinner at your place, all right, is a testament. So
Yeah.
next time I go there, I'm bringing a couple of bottles.
Yeah.
But all of these places, I mean, the Coffee Exchange, I don't know if you've ever been to Coffee Exchange over on Wickenden Street.
Yeah.
You know, a gem. You know, roasting incredible coffees. You know, on every food product level, we've got that here in Rhode Island.
Yeah,
Leave it there, guys.
your New Harvest right across the street. He's
Yeah.
a roaster right down the road.
Yeah.
He does amazing work
Yeah.
with his coffees. Like I said, Sons of Liberty in South County, they're
Right.
getting world recognition,
Right.
international awards.
Mhm.
We have these products here.
Right. Actually, one of the more interesting ones is folks that I spoke to this week for the first time, the Newport Jerky Company.
I've heard of them. I've actually never had it.
But again, it's just wonderful stuff. So again, what's the website?
It's yachtclubsoda.com, and then it gets redirected. But it's
Okay.
that's the easier one to type in.
And you can be found on Facebook.
Facebook,
Where
yeah,
you should
that's
go
right.
out right now. In fact, on the show's promotional links, I shared their Facebook page link. You should go and like it so you can find out what the next product is. So this is out in general distribution?
That's
people?
out. It's hitting shelves as we speak.
Ah, damn, that's good. And like I said, I'm not usually a sweet soda drinker. I'm more of a root beer cream soda kind of guy, and that's just damn good. Well, again, first of all, thank you for coming out tonight. Congratulations to you and your family.
Thank you.
For your ongoing, thriving as a business, despite sometimes the best efforts of the great state of Rhode Island. Much luck. Please stay in touch with new product updates and things like that. Folks, you can find John at, right now during the summer, it's, when is the?
It's the Hope Street Farmers Market on Saturdays,
Okay.
on Lippert Park and Blackstone Boulevard and
Right.
Hope Street, from 9 to 1.
9 to 1. And then the store again?
The store is open 6 days a week at 2239 Mineral Spring Avenue.
Right. And then at a number of fine restaurants across the state.
Yep.
Super.
Great.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Folks,
Appreciate it.
you are listening to the Coalition Loud and Proud, outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient media. Had a great deal of fun tonight with John Sgambato of the Yacht Club Bottling Works. We're often a little bit bitter and a little cynical here on this show, and we kind of obsess over local products, local issues. But it was great tonight to have a little bit of fun with a hometown success story. Part of the motto here of taking it personally is supporting local businesses, supporting folks who, again, who've done it the right way, their own risk capital, their own sweat equity. We can rail against those who don't, but at the same time, we cannot sit idly by and just complain. We must take some of that energy and channel it to support those folks that do it the right way for two reasons. Number one, it's the right thing to do. Number two, let companies like this be living testament that if in fact you turn out a great product, you work hard, success can be had.